welcome to Newsmaker Live for this week with me, Kendall Burton. We have two very special guests in studio with us this evening in the person of Mr. Lazarus Alfred and Miss Susie Sampson. You will recall, no doubt, Mr. Lazarus Alfred, of course, was the local fisherman who went missing at sea for about 38 days before turning up in Panama. We'll get to exactly what transpired during that time in a short while. But first, let me welcome both of you to Newsmaker Live. It's a pleasure to have you here with us this evening.
Thank you. Yeah.
I recall in one of your earlier interviews, Mr. Alfred, you remarking that the thought of your wife and children back home is what kept you during that time. So it seems to me like a good place and a natural place to start by talking about your relationship with Miss Susie Sampson. Tell us how you met, first of all.
Well, as a matter of fact, Susie Sampson was my very first girlfriend. We met in a very early stage, like let me say about 16 thereabout, or even younger, like 15 years old.
Okay.
You know, she was actually my first girlfriend. You know, but after that, you know, I went on my business show, and we were very young at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we both with our ways, different paths, you know, and then we come back again at the latter stage. So it's like we're together now for about a whole 5 years now.
Okay.
After we've been together previously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking with Susie, during the time, she not only seemed like she was concerned about your safety naturally, but she seemed to be a woman very much in love with her husband. How do you describe your relationship?
Well, I have a good relationship with my madam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should say that. Yeah, and you know, and being the boys part of the family again, I mean, that makes it even greater.
And you do have two children together.
Yeah.
How old
So
are
we
they?
moved together. They're like 3.5, like 7 months, about.
Okay, speaking to you earlier, I know you're in the food business, Susie. You obviously in the fishing business. Have you always been involved in that industry?
Well, yeah, it's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a long time. I cannot recall the exact years, but it's a long time. It's like 20, 30 something years.
And what exactly is it that attracted you to that industry?
Well, in my younger days, when I was a young boy, I think that is the reason. When I was a young boy, I raised by the sea. That's where my father was, my mother was, you know.
And where are you referring to?
By Sufre side,
Okay.
called Ansmame.
Right.
So I was raised there. After school, the first thing I do is go for my line after having my lunch or whatever, and rush to the sea. So seeing the action, it encouraged me, seeing how to catch the fish, and it built something in me, like an interest. Yeah, and from there I used to build my little raft by myself. Yeah, and it builds me a kind of way, like I had some interest.
But at what point did you decide, this is what I want to do for a living?
Let me see. Although I used to do it part-time, at one time I used to do part-time. I'm used to do my little farming. But it's always my interest. Yeah, it's like 18 years, 19 years, I really took it seriously when I used to have my first boat, and then I used to go out making my day. And
what is it about fishing that you enjoy the most?
Well, what I enjoy fishing the most is when I see that the fish is hooked in the line and I'm pulling it, feeling the weight of the fish and I'm pulling the fish. That is the most exciting thing about it.
There's a sense of achievement and accomplishment that comes with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like pulling the fish, like feeling the weight, son, and yeah, that is one of the things I really like doing.
Okay. Well, what about the challenges? What's the most difficult part of what it is that you do?
In the fishing? Well, let me see. Which one I see as most difficult? Well, like the long line is difficult and very risky. In parts where they call it the palan, it's very risky because most times when you set these long lines, it has a habit of sticking under the water, sticking, like they call it anchor. It's like an anchor. So sometimes when the current is hard, and you have the situation where you have to try and raise these things, you have to be very, very careful because the current, while it drifts, and it actually, will do something. Maybe the hook might prick you because all the time it's there, like tension, because the current is pulling. So you don't have to be going out with this line when the current is strong. You always have to take your chance on a normal, flat waters where the sea is not rocking. Very risky. That's the riskiest part of the fishing, the long line.
Is there anything about fishing that you don't like?
Well, what I don't like about fishing, the current. When the current is strong, that is, you understand? It really has me a kind of way down. With the current, when the current is strong, there's not much you can do in terms of fishing. If it's maybe trolling, like deep sea fishing, like trolling, it's a different thing. But in terms of being by the shore for your fish pot or your long line, or yeah. Even the trolling itself, it depends on the current. If the current is too strong, it depends how. If it's going down or if it's going up, the different techniques. If it's too hard, well, the fish is stay on below. Yeah.
But walk us through what an average or normal day is like for you.
In width?
No, in terms of what you do. What time do you get up? What's your normal, an average day like?
Yeah. Well, I don't have a special time going fishing. It depends on the time I get the bait too. Sometimes I go night, sometimes I go day. Sometimes, all different hours. Sometimes I can leave at 3 and come back the next day. Sometimes I leave at about 2 o'clock and come back on shore about 7 o'clock. It depends on the day and the weather.
So there's no such thing as an average day for you?
No. But I always go fishing for the week. But I don't have a special time going. So if I go tonight, maybe I go tonight. Sometimes I might go tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow night. It depends.
Before this incident, did you ever experience any near misses or incidents at sea before?
Oh yes.
Tell us about that.
I was out fishing once and I was coming in by myself too. And then I had the safety key. I had a safety key, but the safety key was not. It was hooked in the engine, but it was not hooked on my body. And I was close to shore, like I'll say about 1.5 miles away. But that is enough that I could not make it to the shore. But I'm just telling you. And then, unexpected, I was making a turn to have a look at something that's floating on the water. So apparently, what happened, like in making the turn, there was a rope just in front of me, so it obstruct my left foot. So in obstructing now, I went on the side, and by going on the side, I went off. I went off, and I flew in the water. Now the safety key was not on me, so it couldn't come out and to stop the engine, and I was in the water swimming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then it's a while I'm in the water swimming all around boat, but the boat is making big runs because it has nobody, just making big run. And it's a guy who was looking at this. The guy was bringing some fruit to Jalousie. And he said while he's coming down, he's seeing the boat cannot be swinging all around, so that's impossible. That's very unusual, And he came on the direction, and he found me. The boat was like here. The boat. He found me about almost half a mile away from the boat. He saw the hand, and he came direct on me.
Now, while you're recounting that story, I see Susie shaking her head.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your husband when you hear stories like that? You seem a little disapproving.
Well, that's, to me, that's what he likes. So I don't really. Well, I stick by him. I can't say anything because I stick by him. Whatever that's what he likes. The fact I don't like it. As a matter of fact, when he go to sea in the night, I don't like it either. But that's what he likes. I can't stop him. You see, so I have to go with it.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what actually happened on that fateful day that you went missing most recently. How did you start off your day?
Well, I left up in the morning. Sometime in the morning, like about after 3 or about when I left. It was like a normal. It was a normal day. Like there had no problem for the time. So my GPS was one of the equipment I did not have at the time because it was not powered. The battery was a kind of way on it, so I just had to leave it down, which was bad. But I had my compass, so which I could rely on, because I say well I know the coast that I'm going, so it doesn't make any sense. Not really sense, but son, I don't have the GPS, so the compass will
suffice. Right. Okay.
Yeah, substitute. Yeah. So then, that's the way it started. The weather was not too good. But I'm going to the fact. But the weather is not too good. But it's not the first time. It's not anything new. So I'm traveling. When I reach about, I will say about 3 miles. I'm seeing that the weather is worse that I'm expecting, because it's not daylight, so you can't really see exactly what's going on. I noticed that the weather is, you understand, worse that I'm thinking, like what I'm thinking. So when I reach a distance, I make a little slow down. I slow down the engine, but I put the light. When I notice that I'm fading, the land is fading, I had a light, so I put the light on the compass. On the compass I had, and I keep on going. But I'm traveling on a steady course, but I have the light flashing on the compass. Okay. After traveling for about another half an hour, I see where I supposed to see some sign, of daybreak or the fad, where the fad supposed to be there. All the time that the day is already to be. You understand? You might see daylight in anytime you see the day. So it's when the daybreak now. I'm checking. I'm seeing the compass now has a big problem. The compass self has a big problem.
Yeah.
Now I'm checking, like, I supposed to be seeing the fad or the birds or boats. I supposed to see boats, because it's not me alone that are going. I supposed to see boats. So I'm not seeing no boat. I don't see no fad. I'm not seeing no sign of anything like that's near me.
But what area are we talking about? Where were you headed?
We're talking about on that side there, like on the east there, like places like most like these places there. So when I notice I'm not seeing any sign of any boats or any birds or whatever, so I stood there a while and I keep on watching the compass. Now all the time the compass is giving me a wrong bearing. Now I left my GPS on shore. Now that is
thinking that the compass would suffice.
Yeah. Now the compass was not good. The compass had a total difference. It's giving me a wrong bearing all the time.
What would account for that?
Yeah. So that?
What would account for that? What was the problem with the compass?
The compass was touching the core. Actually, maybe the screw is not adjusted well, but it had actually the compass got me lost.
Okay.
Yeah. Now my cell phone I had early on, I had it in my jacket. It was like a series of mishaps. Like, son, it's one after the other. Like, son, all my devices failed me. I had the cell phone in that jacket, double jacket. Or I believe when I made the last call, I put it in the jacket. But when I checked, it was in my directly between my feet in the water there, just in front of me. It's a good thing I didn't bail it out. But when I took the phone to make a call now, the phone is already.
So the phone malfunctioned as well.
I had no phone at the time again.
So no GPS, no compass, no cell phone.
Yeah, but I had an idea where I was or whatever. But then you can't really gamble that, because sometimes when you feel that you're in the direction, you might depend on the wind to blow a direction for you, where you might say, okay, I think that's the direction. You might be feeling yourself. Sometimes the wind changes direction.
Okay, so at this point, what was your source of power?
My source of power? No, I had an engine. Everything was working good. The engine was good.
Engine was good.
The boat was good. I have gas there too. But then I want to know my location.
Right.
Because for you to be living there, you must have a location for you to know where you're going.
Right.
Because I have no location. So it's just like a gambling thing. Now I noticed like the current, where I was there, they had a current there. In English, they call it, the fishermen call it envoy. Like it's a current. Sometimes you find different places in the water which carries different current. A rougher part, a smoother part, So I was in a piece of current, so that current just maybe just shocking me out in the east or the northeast, kind of way, without knowing. Yeah. So before, during that time, there is already the sun is going up. I'm already lost. Yeah, I'm already lost. From day one, I lost long time. Now.
So did you at least have a functioning watch that you could tell, what time of day it was, how long you'd been out?
For the day, for that particular day. Well, actually, when that happened, that's supposed to be, that hope happened the first time when I see, when they were just about to open, like it was about 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, when I see where everything is failing. Now, that is that time I was supposed to be by the fat, long time.
Right.
So when I'm seeing, so the distance I am, and I'm not seeing any boat, I'm not seeing nothing at all. I see, well, I'm not there. So I'm saying to myself, I took the compass and I have a closer look at the compass, and that is where I find, the compass was failing all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had no other sort, no means of compass, nothing like is to the navigation. Yeah.
Okay, so
during that time now, I'm there drifting, but I'm in two minds to start the engine and try something, because all my mind is that if I get lost for a time, what I supposed to be is just stop one place and to see if anything is coming my way, or to see if I'm discovering any land.
All right.
Because in my opinion, if you lost and you notice that you lost, you're supposed to stop where you are, and you have petrol, so you
want to conserve it.
You'll be able to fight.
Right.
If a boat is coming, whatever you want to propel yourself to the boat.
Right.
Yeah. So I actually spent the whole day, and during the course of that day, I knew well I was in trouble. The same day I knew I was in serious trouble.
But having gone out fishing before for days on end, nobody on land would imagine anything is wrong with you.
For the day?
Because you've been out fishing longer than that before, right?
No.
No?
Actually, I fish out, but it's about different hours. Sometimes if I go in the night, I spend hours.
But
like
never days?
No, never days.
Okay.
Sometimes I spend certain hours. Like
Right.
if it's late night, I spend some hours. Late day, I spend some hours.
So if you had been gone for the entire day, by that point now, somebody would have missed you. Your wife would have missed you, known that
That's
something
right.
was wrong.
Yes.
Okay, so let's switch over to Susie. How did you feel when he didn't come home, perhaps at the time that you expected him to?
Well, at that time, my phone just seized, and he knew before he go that happened.
So your phone wasn't working either?
I didn't have no phone.
Okay.
So he knew that when I see, normally he calls me and communicate with me.
All right.
When I see 2, 3 o'clock, in fact, I was in a deep sleep and I just jumped, like I was having a dream, and I just jumped from the sleep and I say, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, like this, and I opened the balcony door and I turned the balcony, placing, like I knew I felt something was wrong, and I placed in the floor like a mad woman, and I sat down there and I stayed daybreak not sleeping. When you hear, it was about it was not even 6 o'clock yet. I brought a train by the neighbor and I head by the sea because I just felt something was wrong. When I reached by the sea, I asked, I met this gentleman by the sea. I said, can you call him? Have you seen him? He said, no. I said, can you call him on his phone? He said, he called, nothing. I asked the other gentleman, can you do the same? Call him for me on his phone, because my phone. He called, nothing. God, from that point I knew it. I started shaking and, and stuff. I said, my God, I left by the sea. I went downtown. It was unbelievable. Nobody have seen him. He didn't come in the morning. When the day gone by, I went back. I said, I have to make a report. I have to report this. And then when it was around, I called and make a report at 10 o'clock in the night. Called them.
That's the same day?
Yeah. The first day. It was the first day.
Right.
I made a report at 10 o'clock. And then the next morning, which was the Friday, I head to CID again. I took his picture and head to CID and make another report. They told me how long he have been missing. I told them. They said that, I have to wait 72 hours. That's about 3 days before they can file a missing person and start searching. I said, okay. I left and go home. Nothing, nobody can tell me anything. That's it.
Yeah, but you think in a case like that, they would make an exception because you are at sea and you could be in distress.
It's true.
Yeah. But tell us, at this point, what was happening to you? What was going through your head?
Okay. So, from day one, like I was saying, from day one I noticed that I'm in serious trouble, because I lose my course. I was not afraid. Because the only thing I was saying to myself, I only wish that no boats don't pass and knock me during the night, because I know for sure I'm gonna sleep too. I'm gonna sleep. Now, while sleeping, you see sometimes most times during the day you don't see the boats. It doesn't come to rescue you. But it might be funny enough that while you're sleeping there, one comes so close to you that it ends up knocking you, and that's what causes you to be in jeopardy.
Right.
That's the only thing I was afraid of. But apart from that, the other thing again I was saying, like, I hope that the boat don't turn over. Because I had a little food there, I had some water there, so I was saying to myself, well, I believe I could get rescued within a week. I had all that flowing in my serious. I had all that flowing in my mind. I say I believe I'll I'll survive a week.
But the supplies that you did have, you had no intention of going out for very long. So the supplies that you did have, how long did you plan to be out for?
Well, I'd planned to be out for the day, for 1 day.
So you had supplies for 1 day?
No.
No.
But it's a very good thing that I was about to go and I had about 3 quarts of water while I was about to leave. And so another guy said, no, Cap, a friend of mine, I could never remember that day. He said, no.
Forget that day.
Yeah. And he said, no, come, they have more water, they take the water. And that's the best thing. Like, you want to fill something, just put the water inside the boat. He said, no, you don't have enough water, put enough water. Yeah. Now I had some extra stores, I had some extra thing, you know, but the water played a lot of role.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you weren't scared? You were out there?
I was scared because I said to myself, because I was not already in pressure, in the real, I was in the real midst of the thing. So I say, well, I'll get survive. I had a strong feeling I'll get survive within 3 or 4 days. I'll get rescued. Sorry,
right.
I'll get rescued within the 3 or 4 days. No matter what, like I'll maybe land Martinique or Dominica,
or at least encounter another vessel.
Yes, man.
Okay.
Because I was in full. I was really, hoping that I would get through within these days there.
Right.
But the 3rd day, that is when the thing started. Like, I'm seeing a boat coming directly on me and whatever. But we're talking about the 1st day, the very first night. Like, it was, like I said, I was not too scared. I was not scared. As a matter of fact, I was not surprised, because things do happen, and I'm there alone.
Right.
So I said to myself, well, listen, the Almighty will look after that. Yeah. I went sleeping the first, like a normal day, the 1st day. Like, I went, like, it's nothing happening. Like, I went to fishing on a normal night. Because all what I'm saying is that I'll survive.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it went on the 1st day, the 2nd day, the 3rd day. By the 3rd day, I got the roughest of the seas. The roughest part of the seas. That was the Wednesday. Not the Wednesday, 3rd day, sorry. And that was very, very, very rough. Very rough.
So about a Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. That is, I was not taking track of the days. After the 5th day, I remember the 1st to the 5th day. I remember what really took place during that time there. But the other days, I didn't take track of the days.
Right.
But I remember almost everything that happened on that thing. But the days, I couldn't take track of the days.
Right.
Yeah. So I went to sleep as normal, like a normal night, the 1st day, And the 2nd day, like, it was like I was seeing a part of a land from a distance, very far. That it's impossible to meet that land, and the current just keep on pushing me that direction. Yeah. And the 4th day, the 5th day, the 6th day, and that's where we went, sea and sky. It was like sea and sky.
How did you survive during that time?
Well, during that time, the water I have is going down, the food I have is going down. Like, it's about a week going on now. But I still have the high hopes that something come my way. There is, let me see, about during the week and a half about, I found the water was so calm, and I never see that so. The water was very, very calm in the channel, in the place where you can see no land, you can see nothing, just sea and sky. But the water was so calm, you could swear it's in a bucket that was.
But were you still calm at that point?
I was calm. No, I was still calm.
Okay.
But I'm saying to myself, well, that's the right time for the boat, to be coming.
Okay.
Because there is nothing in their way, like any little, little sea that is trembling anywhere, so they can see me from a distance.
Right.
Very, very far. I remember that day, I was there with a bird, with a nice little bird, like as white as snow, white as snow. But all the time there, I've got some tuna, some tuna fillet. I put it to dry. That's for me to eat. Now all the time the bird came to eat something, but I have not noticed that. I haven't noticed that the bird was something to eat. So I'm saying to myself, let me look for some corvalli, which is very close by the boat. Let me fish some corvalli for them to put there for later. So I took a piece of bait and I threw it in the water. Time I threw the piece of the bait in the water, all the time the bird was in the bow of the boat. Time I threw the piece of bait in the water, the bird jumped and take that so fast, just take the piece of bait back with the hook, and then the hook stuck in the bill. But you have time to swallow it because I avoided that. As I take it, I just pull it very fast and stick in the bill. The bird start crying, crying so much. I had to pull it very close and take out the hook, and it fly right in the bow the same way. It didn't go far, and then I start feeding the bird. start chopping the piece of tunas, and start selling for the bird, and the bird eat its belly full. And still on the bow for about a whole day. Nice white bird, very white, nice. They say to me, well, maybe that's the
Guardian
Angel.
Guardian angel. Yeah, but that's the first time I laughed, actually. Yeah, that's the first time I laughed. I laughed because of the way the thing happened. As I send the bit, the bird just grab the bit and crying, the kind of way it's crying. So I started laughing, but I know it would not die. I know how to help it out, take out, but the way it was crying, no, I was laughing at the bird so much. Yeah.
Okay, so you had company for the first day.
Yes.
After that, you were back.
No, not for the first day. That was about a week and a half.
Well, for one day.
Yeah, for the day.
Right.
Yeah.
And after that, you were back to being alone.
Yeah, alone.
Right.
That's the only company really I had. And
for that one day.
Yeah.
So what was going through your head? How did you?
But as time goes by,
because your supplies are diminishing, obviously.
Yeah. As time goes by, like the third week, about, I was feeling like that was it. Yeah. I was feeling like I was kind of giving up. Especially when I get another set of seas that was rough as well. Not like the third day. The third day experience the worst of it. Right. In terms of the sea. Okay. But the next one, it was rough as well, but to me a shark, that was the other thing. A shark was just by me, but it was not doing too aggressive. It was big enough. Yeah, but
to be of concern.
To be of concern.
Okay. We will take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation. We're talking with Mr. Lazarus Alfred, the local fisherman who went missing for over 30 days before turning up in Panama. You're watching Newsmaker Live on DBS. We'll be right back.